I am not American and given names are fake. I am Tori 35F and have a 10-year-old son Neo with Jeff 35M. We divorced 5 years back, when he had an affair with Rebecca. They have a 4-year-old son Omar and Rebecca left them for her home country 2 years back. She left the kid for good and hasn't contacted since. My ex, who was always rude before that, has changed tune since. During custody exchanges, he brings Omar and sometimes asked me to take him, which I have always refused. My son and his half-brother are close and have developed bond like real brothers, which is fine to me. Because I don't plan to have any kid. So it's good he has a sibling from his father's side. But I also made clear to my son that I don't want to associate with ex's family though therapy. Last time he brought him fully ready with bag and when I said no. Kid said mommy take me too. I wasn't happy with this and had huge verbal clash with my ex. I told him to stop brainwashing the poor kid, as I will never be his mother. My ex doubled down and told me that I am wonderful mother to Neo and I can open my heart. Truth is I can't. Omar reminds me of their affair. I know that he is innocent, but I don't want him at my home. My son knows my boundary. Now my ex-in-laws are asking me to show some compassion and love for the kid who is faultless. But I don't want to be associated as any motherly figure in his life. They are calling me heartless for not taking the kid with me to my home and other places where I took Neo. They say he is without a mother. But I really don't want to associate with ex outside our son. I told them that if I had an affair and kid with some random man, would they accept the kid? That shut them up. Still they messaged me calling names. Comment 1. NTA, your ex-husband is a manipulator who is literally training Omar on what to say to pull your heartstrings to get a free babysitter. Your ex burned the bridge for any future connections between you and his family aside from your son. That's on him, not you. Comment 2. NTA. While my heart goes out to this little boy, your distancing yourself from him is completely understandable and may even be the best for him too. Your ex is the clear here because by pressuring you as he is setting his younger son up for rejection. That's cruel and completely unnecessary. Push back hard on this with your ex. He is unreasonable and hurting his own child. He is in the wrong here and is causing harm. There are plenty of parents who are single not by their choice. None of them have the right to pick an unwilling person to parent their child. Comment 3. NTA. I would call whatever child protective services you have in your country and inform them that this man is attempting to abandon his child and brainwashing the child into believing that you are his mom when you are not. Tell your ex-in-laws that if they want to continue to have a relationship with their grandson they will shut up about this matter permanently. The next negative word against you and they are cut off from access. Story 2, blowing up at my sister for naming her daughter after a fungal infection? So my 20M sister, 27F, and her husband had been struggling a lot with baby names. She was determined to find the single perfect name even by the time of her baby shower, nearly 5 weeks before the due date. She didn't seem any closer to picking something out than she was at the start of her pregnancy. Anyway, I knew she was struggling, so in addition to the $900 wooden crib on her list that I got for her, I gave her a list of, obviously, joke baby names. We have a really close relationship, and it was in line with both our senses of humor. She's a nurse, and I'm a biology student, so all the names were medications, infections, unpleasant animals, etc., that all sound like lovely girls' names out of context. Some of them were a little bit obscure, sure, but I included some obvious ones like Viagra and hernia for good measure. 2 weeks later, she told me she and her husband had finally settled on a name. Malassezia. The baby's name is Malassezia. One of the names on my joke list. Outside of the immediate issues, nearly impossible to pronounce on the first try, the ass smack dab at the middle of it, the first syllable being mal, literally meaning bad or evil, it's also the name of a very common fungal infection. One that my sister and I are both genetically predisposed to. One that we've both had multiple times throughout our lives. Her daughter will almost certainly catch it at some time. I pointed it out to her, and she said that yes, she knew what it meant, and she knew my list was intended to be a joke, but she just really liked the way it sounded. I don't think the husband knows what it means. I think he'd reject it if he did. She says that it's so obscure that no one will ever think twice about it. Except, when little baby Malacesia turns 14, finds a weird spot on her neck, and goes on her phone to Google what it is. I told her that the name was completely unacceptable, and I was shocked that she chose it. I even suggested some similar names, like Mallory, Azalea, or Anastasia, that would be more acceptable, but she wouldn't hear it. She said that since I'm not one of the parents, I have no business telling her what she can and cannot name her child, and that I'm stepping way out of line. I think it's pregnancy hormones, and she'll regret the decision very soon after her daughter is born. Comment 1. NTA, I share your frustration and you're looking out for your niece. While your sis is right that it's her parental right, you're not stepping out of line, your family, and you're cautioning her. Reminds me of a girl in my class back in elementary school whom had a unique name, Spontaneous. That was her name. We were all fine with it until 6th grade, when that was one of the words we were taught. You can imagine what chaos ensued for the poor girl. Also, Malacesia sounds like a Disney villain. Question: would the hospital allow that name? I know people choose unique names for children, but could you really name your child Chlamydia? That's not considered emotional abuse? Comment 2. Is it possible your sister is trolling you back about the baby name? Most of my friends and family have had no idea what baby name they liked until the baby arrived, and some still struggled. There is no rule you have to know what name you'll choose to name the baby prior to arrival. Hell, my parents named my sister, forgot what they named her when filling out paperwork, and named her something different. Story 3, always dumping lemon on all my food? I grew up in a big household where all food and leftovers were fair game, even when I became old enough to buy my own food. To combat this, I started absolutely drowning my food in lemon juice. I could tolerate the taste, and even grew to quite like it. No one would touch my prepared foods or leftovers. It's a habit I've carried well into adulthood. I recently went on a large trip with some girlfriends. The Airbnb and excursions are all evenly split. Food is paid for by ourselves because some people have specialty allergies or foods. We have been going out to dinner the last few nights. I always ask for extra lemons at the table, and soak my food before eating. After a couple days into the trip, one of the girls complained at breakfast that I was making food inedible to other people. This was news to me, since the only food I was lemoning was my restaurant leftovers that I would eat the next day. What apparently had been happening since the first night was one of the girls, the one who complained, stays up later than the rest of us, and would eat or pick at any leftovers, disregarding the names on the containers. After 2x trying my food on separate occasions, she realized what I was doing and was pissed. I said she shouldn't be eating others' foods that weren't communal, and she said, well, it's just how the rest of us feel. No one else at the table said anything, and breakfast was tense. Later, while getting ready to go out, the other girls one by one told me that they didn't like their leftovers being eaten and were glad I said something, but didn't want tensions going forward. That night at dinner, I purposely lemonade my food again. The complainer made an angry noise and stormed off to the bathroom. I didn't say anything, and the rest of our dinner continued normally without her until she came back out sniffling before we left the restaurant. She gave me dirty looks the whole ride back. I am exasperated by this nonsense drama, but maybe I am being a J. Comment 1, NTA, OP, tell her to stick to her own box of leftovers or suffer the consequences. I will say, although not asked to judge, your friends softly are the big brown eye for not standing up to the girl and telling her they didn't like her stealing either. That's what's giving this girl her sense of entitlement, and everyone else feels the same way. Congrats on having a backbone. Comment 2. NTA, I think you and the rest of your girlfriends need to re-evaluate your friendship with this girl. Obviously this is something that has been going on for a long time. And to gaslight you and say all the other girls are with her shows a clear sense of entitlement. That the rest of your girlfriends came up to you and thanked you for speaking up about this shows they were not on the same page as this mooch. I say future girl trips, leave the mooch at home. Comment 3. NTA. It's your food. It would be one thing if you were dumping lemon all over a meal to be shared with a group, but just your food that only you intend to eat. Make it as crazy inedible as you want. Douse it in lemon, hot sauce, whatever strikes your fancy. Story 4, refusing to sign my parents' house, which is under my name, over to my wife if I die? So here is the backstory. In 2008 my parents lost most of their money and it got to the point they were no longer able to afford their house. My dad is quite a bit older than my mom, and his biggest worry is that he is not able to leave her enough to live and pay for a home/rent without having to financially rely on me and my sister. So this is the plan we came up with. We found a house with a large lot that we bought under my name. My parents put down a significant amount of their savings for the down payment for the property, and to build a detached accessory dwelling unit for them to live in. I lived in the main house for a while, and my parents in the ADU. The agreement was once I moved out, we would rent out the main house. I would be responsible for the main house, maintenance, repairs, etc. My parents are responsible for the ADU. We would split any property taxes not covered by the rental of the other property. I live in a very expensive area, so my parents will have a place to live for the rest of their lives with no stress about becoming homeless. And I end up with a great investment property that I already have quite a bit of equity in. I have the house in a trust. In the event of my untimely death, the ownership of the house will transfer to my parents, and then transfer to my partner/offsprings once they pass away. My wife wants me to change the trust to have the deed of the property go to her instead of my parents. She says she of course will let them live there but wants control of the property if I die. I feel really uncomfortable signing over the house my parents paid for to her. Even though it's in my name and I'm spending some money on property taxes and maintenance, I consider it their house as they have paid for everything. Part of the reason I feel uncomfortable is because when we were updating our life insurance policies once we got married, she made sure I removed my parents as beneficiaries and added her on as 100% beneficiary. But then refused to add me as a beneficiary to her policy and had 100% going to her sister. Comment 1, NTA. Do not change that trust. She can, and would, sell that house out from under your parents if she came to own it. The tell is that she insisted on being your 100% beneficiary but won't let you be her 100% beneficiary. In my state, you would have to be her 100% beneficiary by law. Obviously, she want to have to your cake and eat hers too. If you can get out of that partnership cleanly, do so. She loves money, but probably not you. I'm really sorry that she has put you in this position, and equally sorry that you didn't see this side of her before marrying her. Comment 2. NTA. And fix your life insurance. It should go to who you want, not to who she wants. She set that precedent herself by refusing to add you to hers. It set it up as a trust for your kids and your parents, and leave her out of it. Comment 3. NTA. There's no reason to trust that your wife would actually do the right thing here and allow your parents to remain in the house they paid for because she isn't actually doing the right thing in regards to you. It was just so important to her to become your beneficiary, but she refuses to do the same for you. My point is, if she won't do it for you, her husband, don't trust that she'll do it for your parents. Extra. Refusing to give up my dorm bed to my roommate's homeless boyfriend? I, 19F, am in my second year of college and share a dorm room with another girl, also 19F. We get along okay, not super close. About a week into the semester, she asked if her boyfriend, 20M, could crash with us for a few nights because he had a falling out with his parents and had nowhere to go. I said sure, thinking it was temporary. Fast forward 3 weeks, he's literally still here. He sleeps in her bed, uses our stuff, eats my snacks, and hasn't once said thank you. He's not even a student. I finally told her he needs to go or at least stay somewhere else a few nights a week because I don't feel comfortable. She got mad and said I was lucky to have a home to go back to and accused me of being heartless. She then asked me to sleep on the floor a few nights so he could stretch out. I laughed and said absolutely not. Now she's giving me the cold shoulder and some of our floormates think I'm being selfish.